Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum to all of you. Today we will discuss the paper 2 of chemistry. So today we will discuss detailed discussion related to paper 2. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now these are the learning objectives of the book. We will discuss the paper 2 in detail, right? Number 1, total marks of the paper. What is the paper weightage? Time, syllabus. What is the syllabus? What are the main topics of the paper 2? And what will be tested in paper 2? And the advice for the paper 2, right? So these are the learning objectives of the today's topic. Now look at here. This is the discussion related to paper 1. As you know that there are two sections of the paper. Number 1 is section A, right? That is the related to the short questions, and the total marks are 45 and the time is 1 hour 30 minutes, right? Then we have to attempt all questions. There is no choice in the section A. Which are the important topics which includes in this paper 2? Electrolysis. Some questions will be from this topic, like electrolysis, chemical bonding, organic chemistry, periodic table, energy changes, atomic structure, the mole and its calculation, and stoichiometry also, empirical formula and molecular formula and its calculation. Then also we will discuss about the percentage purity and percentage yield and their calculations as well. This is the section number 1, short question. We have to attempt all the questions. There is no choice in this section A. Now we are moving towards the second section, that is section B, and it is related to the long questions, and the maximum marks are 30. Note that we people have to answer any 3 questions out of 4. So there is a choice of 1 question. Now look at here the main topics of the section 2: chemical equilibrium or reversible reactions. Then some questions will be from organic chemistry, macromolecules, acids and bases and salts also, metals and the extraction of metals, right? So these are the main points, main topics related to the section B of the paper 2 chemistry. Now look at here, the periodic table is provided. A periodic table will be provided, that is at the end of the paper, and you can use the calculator also, right? So this is the the complete picture of the paper 2 section A and section B. Now I am giving you this detailed information related to paper 1, paper 2 and paper 3 also. So paper 1, as you know, that is of the 1 hour, and paper 2 is 1.5 hour, and the paper 4 is also of 1 hour, right? In paper 1 there will be 40 MCQs questions, and we have to answer all these MCQs, and there are 40 marks. And very important thing is that the weightage is 27%. This is our main focus will be on the paper 2. That time is 1 hour, 1.5 hour, and as I have mentioned earlier, that there is section 1 and that is of the 45 marks, and then there is also the section 2 of the 30 marks, right? the main thing is that weightage, that is 52, and the weightage of the paper 4 is 21. So when you add 21, 52 and 27, there will be 100%, right? So this is the another picture related to the paper 1, paper 2 and paper 4. Now the advice for the paper 2, right? So what are the main, you can say that tips, skills for the paper 2? Number one is that read the question properly. Initially you have to read the question properly, right? One time, two times, okay? Then what will happen, you can understand the question. Then you people have to make some outlines or rough work, right? Or do brainstorming related to the question. Then start to write the answer, right? Then your answer should be to the point or specific. It should not be irrelevant or vague answer, right? It should be specific to the point. So these are some main skills, points, advice for you all, how to attempt the paper 2. Now the detailed discussion related to paper 2, or you can say that advice, that you need, as I have told you earlier, you need to read the questions so that you know what is required to answer it. The following ideas seek to explain the advice given through some examples, right? Below are some examples mentioned that how to answer, what is the requirement of the examiner. You must answer the question set, right? Now number one is that state one specific use of nickel other than its use in alloy, right? So what we have to answer for this question, the word specific is very important here. You will get no credit when you answer like this, nickel is used as a catalyst, because you must also identify the industrial reaction, right? Catalyzed, for example, that is the hydrogenation of the vegetable oils. So this is the proper use, this is the proper answer, okay? Then the question number 2, suggest 2 possible consequences of an increase in global warming, right? We people have to write 2 possible consequences. Consequences means the effects of the global warming, right? The answer requires 2 effects of the global warming. Example, polar ice melting, sea level rising, but does not want to explain how or why the global warming occurs. This is very important. You have to just write the we can say that effects, what are the effects of the global warming, right? Like these are the 2 effects. One is global ice melting, second one is the sea level rising. Now the third hint for you all is that describe how the boiling points of the unbranched alkane vary with the size of the molecules. There is only 1 mark, right? So how you have to explain this question? This is the physical property of the alkanes. An answer like the boiling point depends on the size of the molecule is not good enough. It is not clearly, supporting the idea of the examiner. It indicates that candidate knows the size affects the boiling point, right? But it does not state how changing size changes the boiling point, as this will be the perfect answer, like as the molecules get larger, the boiling point increases. right? This is the best answer. Now the fourth main point is that, now look at here, the key point is I mentioned earlier that you must be specific, not vague or unclear in writing an answer. Number fourth point is that how do fertilizers increase crop yields? There is only 1 mark for this question. Vague answer simply state that fertilizers contain food for plants or similar. This is not the perfect answer, right? Now what you people have to write, what will be the specific answer for this question? Look at here. The fertilizer contains nitrogen and link this to protein and then growth. So this will be the answer, that nitrogen is very important for the plant growth because it contains the protein, right? So this is the fourth, you can say that the question help for you how to answer the question. Now the fifth one is that explain why carbon monoxide must not be allowed to escape from the furnace, right? This is the 1 mark answer. What should be the answer? Like carbon monoxide is toxic or poisonous. This is the perfect answer, right? Whereas the answer like pollutant are, or you can say that harmful and causes breathing difficulties, are not perfect answers, right? So this is the correct answer, that carbon monoxide is poisonous gas, right? Now look at here, another hint for you all is that the number of marks for a question can give you an indication of the number of points you should make in your answer, right? So the number of marks, for example 3 marks, means you people have to mention 3 ideas. For example, number of marks are 2, means examiner wants only 2 ideas. So now look at here, explain why zinc chloride conducts electricity when molten, 1 point, but not when solid. So these are the 2 points. 1 point you have to mention that why it conducts electricity when it is in molten state, but why not when it is in solid state. So these are the 2 ideas. That is why there are 2 marks. In molten zinc chloride, ions can move freely, right, is the 1 point, and then you will get only 1 mark. Then the solid does not conduct electricity because there are not free moving electrons or ions. So that is the reason, then you will get 2 marks. But what will happen, because the ions cannot move, right, is the second scoring point. But what the majority of the students perform, that they will only highlight the point number 1 and then they will discuss in detail the point number 1 but not the point number 2. So they will get only 1 mark, right? Now this was the idea number 6. Now we are moving towards the 7th idea. 7th idea is that explain how the process of photosynthesis and respiration help to regulate the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. These are the 3 points. So number 1 point will be related to photosynthesis, number 2nd will be respiration, and number 3rd will be how they regulate the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere, right? So these are the 3 points, and that is the reason that there are 3 marks. Now look at the answer. There are 3 points to make, one about the photosynthesis, another about respiration, and final one about regulate, maintaining the balance, right? Consequently, following answer scores all marks. Plants take up CO2, from the atmosphere in photosynthesis. 1 point. Second is that in respiration CO2 is released to atmosphere. Second point. These processes maintain a balance because the amount of CO2 carbon dioxide taken up is equal to the amount of the CO2 released. That is the reason that this is the carbon dioxide cycle is complete and it is maintained or managed. So these are the 3 points for this one. So this was the 7th idea. Now another, it is important that you know what is meant by the scientific terms or phrases used in the question, right? It is also very important that you know the scientific terminology of the chemistry subject. Like 8th point is that state 2 differences in physical properties of metal, potassium and iron. These are the 2 marks. Then state 1 difference in the chemical properties of the metals potassium and iron, right? So above one there are 2 marks and then there is 1 mark. So how you will answer? The first question is about the properties such as melting point, density, hardness. So potassium has a low melting point and iron has high melting point, scores 1 of the 2 marks, right? The second point, what you will write, second point is about the chemical reaction of the metals, and the answers such as potassium is very reactive than iron. Iron is not very reactive, it is less reactive as compared to potassium. So potassium reacts with water and iron does not will gain the mark, right? So this is the way. Now the point number 9 is that write an equation for complete combustion of methane, right? So what you have to write an equation in the exam means symbolic equation, not the word equation, and then we people have to balance it also, and it must contain the correct formulae for the reactants and products, and it must be balanced. Sometimes there are 2 marks for the complete balance equation, and we people have to mention the state symbol also, whether it is solid in state, liquid in state, or gases or aqueous in state. So while formula writing or balancing equations are skills acquired through practice, right? Marks are often lost because candidates forget the non-metals made up of the diatomic molecules. Like they will write O only, but it is O2, N2, H2 and Cl2. These are diatomic gases. The term complete combustion for hydrocarbon like methane means plenty of oxygen is available in the burning, so CO2 and water are the products. This is called the complete combustion, and there is another term related to that, that is incomplete combustion. And incomplete combustion we will get carbon monoxide, water and the carbon, right? So these are the 3 products when there is incomplete combustion in the result of the lack of the amount of the oxygen in environment. Okay, now what will be tested in the O-level Cambridge exam? What are the areas where you will be tested? Now look at here, these are the 3. Number 1 is your knowledge, what you remember and understand, and how you use what you know and you can apply it. How you handle the information and solve the problems. Point number 1. Point number 2. Point number 3, your use of experimental skills. These are the 3 main areas where you people may be assessed in the exam. These are called assessment objectives, AOS. This is AO1, assessment objective 1. This is AO2, and this is AO, assessment objective 3. They are explained in the table, right? The theory papers mainly they contain assessment objective 1, that is knowledge with understanding, and assessment objective 2, handling information and solving problems. The practical assessment test or the ATB paper, right, that will contain the AO3, like experimental skills and investigation, right? So now look at this table. Number 1 is assessment objective number 1, that is knowledge with understanding, remembering facts and then applying these facts to new situations, right? This is the meaning of AO, assessment objective number 1. Then what you need to be able to do, right? Use the scientific ideas, facts and laws, and then know the scientific vocab and terms. Example, what is oxidation, what is reduction, what are isotopes, and what is electrolysis, etc. You must remember these vocab and terms. Know about the chemical apparatus and how it works, like what is the function of a beaker, what is the function of a burette, pipette, conical flask, volumetric flask, measuring cylinder. You must know. You must identify the apparatus initially, and then you must know what is the function of this apparatus. You must know about the chemical symbols of the elements and the physical quantities, like volume, these are the units, volume, and the mass, and the time, temperature, etc. Then their units also, like dm cube, cm cube is the unit of volume, and the second is for the time, and mass, for the mass it will be gram and kilogram, right? So you must know about the chemical symbol of the elements like sodium, potassium, rubidium, iron, etc. And then the physical quantities like volume, and then mass, temperature, etc. and their units also. Now you must know about the importance of the science in our daily life. This is general questions, right? Like what are the causes and effects of the global warming, what are greenhouse gases, and what do you know about the acid rain, and what are the effects of acid rain on building, on human beings, and on plants. These are general topics. Then what do you mean by the AO2, assessment objective number 2, handling information and solving problems? How you extract information and arrange it in a sensible pattern, and how you can carry out the calculations and make the predictions, right? Now look at the main points. Select and organize the information from graph, tables, and written text. This is the question related to ATP and related to paper 2 also. Change of information from one form to another form. Example, draw the graphs through the data, and then construct the symbol or equations from the word equations, or like you can calculate the empirical formula or molecular formula also through the some data. Arrange the data and carry out the calculations. Identify the patterns from the information given and draw the conclusions. Explain scientific relationship, like you can say that use the kinetic particle theory to explain the idea about the rate of reaction, whether the rate of reaction is slow, fast, and what are the factors affecting the rate of reaction, make predictions and develop the scientific ideas, and then solve problems, right? So this is related to the AO2 assessment objective 2, and that is entirely related to your paper 2 and also 4. Now the third one, assessment objective number 3, that is related to the ATP paper. All right, experimental skills and investigation. The parts in the brackets only refer to the paper 3, right? So but we people have paper 4 ATP. Now what are the main points in this? Like planning and carrying out experiments and recording and analyzing the information, right? Now what are the 4 important main points for the ATP paper? That follow the instructions to use the apparatus and techniques, as I have told you earlier that in the paper 2 and paper 4, apparatus, name of the apparatus that will be asked, and what is the name the technique or method to you can say that preparation for this or separation technique will be asked, right? Make observations and measurement and record them, right? Analyze experimental results and suggest how valid they are, right? And the last one is very important, which is currently the question is coming in your ATP paper, that plan an experiment and suggest the improvements. What are the mistakes in this experimental setup? You people have to identify, and then the data will be given, apparatus in each and everything will be given, and then you people have to draw or plan the experiment through these, the points. So this is about the entirely detailed discussion related to paper 2, right? Thank you very much, and in the next lesson we will discuss some few important topics which are you can say that compulsory or main questions in paper 2. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.